Hello, it's Kimrix bringing you yet another gigantic video. Last week saw the release of the corruption patch, and honestly I'm feeling the hype over here. Why, you might ask? Well, let me tell you. First up, custom lobbies. I've been a pretty big proponent of these. I've talked about them in a few videos. They are core to any competitive game's continued survival. Now, they're not at 100% what I was hoping for, but it is the step in the right direction to at least propagate some team scrimming. Hopefully in the near future, we'll start seeing a little bit more information on spectator modes and stuff along those lines. Next up, we have push to talk. Hooray. I'm still confused as how it took them this long to put this into action, but it's here now, so we can all rejoice, I guess. Well, both yes and no to that statement. The problem here lies in the fact that we had open mic voice for a very long time. And step one for a lot of people during this time frame was to shut off in-game voice. Because most of us don't like listening to people smacking their lips and clearing their throat while we're trying to focus on, I don't know, pushing creatures and killing enemies. So not a lot of people have turned on the voice option since its release. You can tell by going into the scoreboard. People who don't have the little speaker symbol next to their name, they just can't hear you. So this whole thing feels a bit too little too late. Hopefully this changes, but only time will tell. And the next key feature of this update comes at us in the form of a creature alteration. Recently, creatures have been the focus of a lot of debate in the gigantic community, and they're probably going to be that way for a while. They stand as one of the more central aspects to the strategy in this game, and because of this, we'll probably never see a final form that these creatures ever make it to. Because as time goes by and new heroes get released, the meta might need to change. And what they're going for now is a kind of middle ground between the instant summon and the team summon. It definitely seems to focus a little bit on team strategy, knowing when you need to attack or defend, and this is now more user-friendly with the push-to-talk function. We just need more people to turn back on their in-game voice. And I get it, you want to avoid player toxicity, you'd rather just focus on the whole keyboard team chat. It makes your world feel nicer. But if you play a support and you really hate it when Trip shows up on you during a team fight, I feel like it's a million times better for you to just say that this is happening rather than have to stop moving, press enter, type in, hey everybody, Trip's on my tail, can someone possibly peel? It's not a viable idea. So I urge the gigantic community, anyone within earshot of my voice, please turn your voice back on. Together we can make the arena great again. Other than those core system changes, Matiga also put in some character work in the patch, so let me go over the important ones, since a lot of what was on the list is just bug fixes. We'll start with my Lizard Lord and Savior Charnock. His bigger ball of fire path as well as his blast off path are seeing some augmentation. If you like less damage over time and more instant burst AoE, you're going to be noticing a fairly big damage spike coming from his fireball. And if you're like me and use his detonate to try to ring people out, yeah, I'm that guy, you're going to notice that it's going to take a little bit longer for that build to come online. Seeing as how blast off no longer pushes people back, you're going to have to spec into the tier 2 parting gift in order to regain your pushback. I don't like this because it nerfs a spec that I used to go with all the time, but if I look at it from the outside, it's kind of understandable. Griselma saw some bug fixes, but it's also useful to note that her reach out path gives a little bit less armor, but her portal beasts do more overall damage. A little less focus on support and a little more focus on creature murder. HK is feeling the erosion of his years of service in the form of a damage drop. His ballistic accelerator no longer maintains 100% damage over full distance. It will instead drop to about 85% and then hold steady. I feel that his King of Sanctum Falls crown is under siege a little here, but this nerf isn't exactly unwarranted. Lord Gnosis becomes one of the first to add a stamina cost to his standard attack. For all you Piercing Path fans out there, be prepared to spend 10 stamina every time you want to use it, but your faith will be rewarded with every follow-up attack that you land, by pushing the damage from 50 a second to 60 a second and reapplying a 3-second timer to it. And in an effort to make his meat tank build of Bull Rush more viable, we're seeing less speed for the other path. A drop from 66% to 25% to be exact. Yeah, let's see you try to catch me on Taito now with those tiny legs. Margrave had an animation cancel get fixed up. For those who are unfamiliar, there was a streamer who showed everyone how to do his leaping attack over and over again. At the sacrifice of basically one full stam bar, you would just immediately kill any character. So they've probably added a slight wait time before you can go back into the leap attack animation. Ramsay. Seeing as how he's new, Matiga's still working towards bringing him into line. His standard attack is a longer range, his dodge isn't as spammy, still pretty spammy, so don't get your hopes up. His flurry does about 40% 30% more damage, so you should probably keep an eye out for that. And if you like the taste of Juju Fruit and how it applies curses to people, just know that it's going to take a little bit longer before you can reapply. About 3 seconds to be exact if you like the smear upgrade. And it looks like his focus had his area and duration reduced, but he gets into it a little bit quicker. The giant ball of ferrets in a Taito suit gained a bit of additional damage for its basic attack, but if you're a fan of Hidden Talon, don't expect to go as far as you used to. However, your blade dance is looking 15% stronger, a slight upgrade for the paper cuts it used to inflict. Uncle Bad Touch had his armor bonus reduced, but the application of the deflect ability seems to be a bit easier, and the redundancy of the daze applied by his polymorph no longer happens. Vidasi also had her armor buff reduced as well. Seeing as how this is a constant across a lot of the characters that bring a very large armor buff to their team, Matiga is most likely doing this to reduce their effectiveness when compared to other supports, as well as increase the speed of play. Matiga's also putting in a lot of effort at righting all of Wu's wrongs. Problems with his frame canceling, attack delays, increasing cooldowns on abilities considered just too spammable, and being given a better turn radius when using his Typhoon's Fury, allowing it to Tokyo Drift into people who try to dodge out of its way. And Zenobia, scourge of anime schoolgirls everywhere, has had her Wave of Sorrow re-examined. A couple tier 2 paths swap sides, her piercing shot does AoE instead, and Savor the Sorrow heals her for about 25 less than it used to, per target hit. Now all of these adjustments when taken individually don't seem to change too much, but when you consider them all together, it does appear that Matiga's looking to increase the damage output while decreasing the damage reduction. It should make the team fights a little more rewarding and even reduce the ability for enemies to get away from you as easily as they used to. We'll have to see what tweaks they pull out of the hat for the next update. The big thing we received for this patch though is the Celestial Trickster Oru. Now I've been playing him pretty heavily since the release of the patch, and he feels a bit like a sustained medium range damage alongside some area crowd control, and his upgrade paths seem to allow him to either focus on damage or control. And I feel like this makes him a great control support pick, but I'm gonna wait till the next video to really talk about him. I'm still toying with builds, I'm still seeing how he works alongside other heroes and how great he is against a lot of the enemy heroes, but he does definitely have some weak points, which is great. He's yet another non-excessively imbalanced character to be added to the roster. We'll just have to see how Matiga refines him. Until then, if you like what you saw and you're looking for more gigantic content, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to leave them in the comments below. I might even respond to them in an upcoming video. But for now, I'll see you all in the arena.